It's Brittany, bitch. Hello guys, my name is Nightmare, but you can call me TNM. Today we are back with another video. Before we get started, I just want to say I am so terribly sorry for leaving you guys for a whole goddamn month. I am sorry, but life is a priority. I do help run a business, behind the scenes in my life, so I was busy with that, but now Thanksgiving is coming up and it's about time I push out a video. Might as well, right? Now, recently I uploaded a poll on the YouTube channel, and I asked what machine you would like to see me attack next. Now, none of you have specified a specific exploit, which thank God you didn't, because that would make my life way harder. I'm just kidding. Please suggest whatever you want. I'm more than happy to show you. Besides that, I gave the options as Linux and Windows machines. So the last two videos that I shown on penetration testing featured attacks on Linux machines. I have not featured a attack for Windows machines until this very moment. This video is my first video showing an attack that you can do on a Windows machine. Now, as the title have said, SMB Exploit. You might be wondering, what the fuck is SMB? Well, to get started, there are multiple ways to transfer a file between two hosts, in this case computers, on the same network. One of these protocols is studied in this example, and that is SMB, which stands for Server Message Block. This communication protocol provides shared access to files, printers, serial ports between two endpoints on one network. We mostly see these SMB services running on Windows machine. And to give you a real world example, when you open up File Explorer, scroll all the way down to the network section, that uses SMB protocol, if I'm not mistaken. I might be terribly wrong. I don't know. I don't care. Now, to get started, we have our IP of our machine that we're going to be using. As always, we're going to use the classic nmap. We got to map out the network, guys. You know how it is. We're going to do a server detection switch, and yeah, we don't want to trigger any perimeter security, so we're just going to do a little passive approach here and enter in our password, and we're going to wait for that to finish. Okay, our nmap report is right here. Let me go ahead and highlight this for you guys. Alright, this is the juicy stuff. Okay, as we can see, we have 3 ports open, and we have the service. Obviously, we can see this is the Windows machine. Now, during scanning, we will typically see port 445 TCP open on the target, which is reserved exclusively for the SMB protocol, unless specified otherwise, but this should be the default port. Now, usually SMB runs at the application or presentation layers of the OSI model. You can look that up, by the way, if you don't know what it is. It's a quick Google search. But due to this, it relies on lower level protocols for transport over the network. So the transport layer protocol that the Microsoft SMB protocol is most often used with the NetBIOS over TCP/IP, which is NBT for short. This is why during scans we will most likely see both protocols open with the ports, which, as we can see, is running on this target. So using the SMB protocol, an application or the user of an application can access files at a remote server along with the other resources such as printers. No one uses fucking printers nowadays, but yeah, just giving you an example. Therefore, a client application can read, create, and update files on the remote server. It could be another computer, it doesn't fucking matter, just a host. It can also communicate with any server program that is set up to receive a SMB client request. So an SMB enabled storage on a network is called a share. These can be accessed by any client that has the address of the server and the proper credentials, which is the IP, port, password, blah blah blah. Like many other file access protocols, SMB requires some security layers in order to function properly within a network. So, if SMB allows clients to create, edit, retrieve, and remove files on a share, there's a clear need for an authentication mechanism, obviously. At a user level, SMB clients are required to provide a username password combination to see and interact with the contents within the SMB share. Now, despite having the ability to secure access to the share, a network administrator can sometimes make mistakes and accidentally allow login without any valid credentials, or by using, guest accounts or anonymous logins. So as we mentioned before, we can see that port 445 TCP for SMB is up and running, which means that we have an active share that we could potentially explore. Think of this share as a folder that can be accessed over the internet. In order to do so, we would need the appropriate services and script installed. So in order to completely enumerate the share content on the remote system, we can use a script called SMB Client. In this case, I already have it installed, but if the script is not present on your virtual machine, you can install it by typing the following command in your terminal. Sudo apt get install SMB client, and obviously, as you can see, this is already installed. But if you have not installed it, just run through the thing, and yeah. So what the SMB client script will do it'll attempt to connect to the remote host and check if there's any authentication required. Pretty much 100% of the time, there's always going to be some sort of authentication. If there's not, then don't attack it because it's a fucking honeypot. Now, if there is, it'll ask you for a password for the local username. Now, let's take note of this. If we do not just specify a certain username to the script when attempting to connect to the remote host, it'll just use your local machine's username, which is the one you're currently logged into with on the virtual machine. So this is because SMB authentication always requires a username. So by not giving it one explicitly to try to log in with, it'll just pass your current local username to avoid throwing an error, because it doesn't know how to handle that. So nevertheless, let's use our local username since we don't know any remote usernames present on the target that we could potentially log in with. So if we just type in SMB client .l, and then let's just go ahead and paste the IP, we can see it'll ask for a password. Let's just leave it blank. Click enter. Oh, well then. But hypothetically, if we were a remote user trying to log in into their resource, we would know our username and password and log in normally to access our share. Now we don't have any credentials, but basically you could use a guest or anonymous authentication, but any of these will result us logging in without a proper username or password combination, and it'll see the files stored on the share. So as we can see, we just used our local username and we left the password field blank. Now, as always, we could type the name of the script in the terminal along with the -h switch or the --help in order to, find out more capabilities of this script. So, in case you're wondering, the -l switch basically just means you're selecting the targeted host for the connection request, in this case, the IP. Now, we just ran this command and we can see that there's 4 separate shares. Now, usually, admin shares are the administrative shares on the hidden network, which is created by the Windows NT family of operating systems that allow system administrators to have access to every disk volume on a network connected system. Now, these shares may not be permanently deleted, but it could be disabled. Next, we have C, the administrative share for the C disk volume, which is the main disk volume. This is where the operating system is hosted. Now, we have IPC, which is the inter-process communication share. This is used for inter-process communication via name pipes, but it's not a part of the file system. And here, this is a custom share. Now, we're going to try to connect to each of these shares, except for the IPC one, which is not valuable to us because it's not browsable as a regular directory, because it's not a part of the file system, as I mentioned before. So we're going to use the same tactic as before and attempting to log in without proper credentials and hopefully find some misconfiguration permissions on any of these shares. So first we're going to do SMB client 4 backslashes, and then we're going to paste the IP, 2 backslashes, and we're going to type the name of a share. Let's just leave the password field blank, and unfortunately our access is denied. Okay, let's just try the other shares. 4 backslashes and the IP, 2 more backslashes, and next will be C. Leave the password field blank, and we're still denied. Shit. Well, the only thing left to test is the custom share, which I have a real good feeling may be misconfigured. Let's see. Leave the password field blank, and ladies and gentlemen, the SMB share called work shares was poorly configured, which allows us to log in without the proper credentials. Now we can see that our our terminal prompt was changed to this. This let us know that our shell is now interacting with the service. So let's go ahead and use the help command and get an idea of what we're working with here. Now from the output that we can notice most of these commands we use in Linux are present. So we'll be using the following to navigate the share. Now let's just go ahead and type in ls. Right, let's find out where we are. Where are we? Okay, it seems that we're in the directory, and in this directory contains 2 names. We're just gonna go from the top down. So let's go ahead and cd into Miss Amy J. What do you have? You have worknotes.txt. Maybe that'll contain useful information that we would want. So we can easily get that by just typing git and then the name of the file. And as we can see, we have gotten that. So now that we have this file that could be potentially useful, let's go ahead and quickly try to find any other valuable information before we get detected by any perimeter security, which they definitely will have in the real world. They will have security teams actively monitoring all of the services, so be very careful if you're going to use this in a malicious manner. If you do, I don't give a shit. That's on you, bro. But if you get caught, don't come crying to me and blaming it on me, because motherfucker, you're gonna get 4 more fingers pointing back at you. Now, besides that, let's just go ahead and hop back and check out where we are. Let's go ahead and go to Mr. James. Mr. James P, what do you have for us? You have flag.txt. That is something I am familiar with, and that is something I really want. So we're gonna go ahead and get flag.txt. Awesome sauce. So the file is now saved inside the location of where we ran our SMB client originally. But at this point, we retrieved all of the files that we would want. Now we can just kill this process by typing exit. Now, once the SMB shell is killed, we can read the two documents that we have yoinked. In this case, we're going to use the cat command, and we're going to type in, work notes.txt. I cannot spell for the life of me. Holy shit. TXT. Let's see. Okay, start Apache server on the Linux machine, secure the FTP server, and set up WinRM on dancing. I don't know what this means. To be honest with you, I couldn't care either. This is useless to us. So how about we just check out the other file, flag.txt, which seems to be of use to me. And as we can see, this is going to be the root flag of the target machine. Ladies and gentlemen, we have successfully executed a SMB exploit on a Windows machine. It is that freaking easy. That quick, that easy, and with enough practice, you're in and out with everything you would need. Well, thank you so much, guys, for watching. Again, I apologize for not being active for a month. I just do this as a hobby, so please do not expect any, activity consistently, at least. Now, I know in my previous video I mentioned something about Raspberry Pi projects. I do have the Raspberry Pi. It works. It's much slower than I would expected. I have done many type of tests. I have successfully installed Windows 10 on the ARM chipset, which you're not really supposed to do, but I did it anyways. It is awful. I hate it. But I'm still trying to figure out exactly what to do and what to show you guys with the Raspberry Pi. If you have any ideas, please don't hesitate to let me know. I will gladly teach you anything you would want to know. At this point in time, our video is over. You guys can have a great rest of your day/night. And hopefully I will see you really soon on the next one. I love you guys, but at the same time, go fuck yourself. Bye.
The lady 23, just like the motherfucking Glock. They think I'm soft because I'm Jewish, like a dreidel spin your block, but it ain't Hanukkah. I'm dressed in all black with my yarmulke. Cracker almost lost his life on a motherfucking yarmulke.